Hello, 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 and welcome back to another edition of So You're Interested In, the show where I break down an artist's discography to help you find the perfect jumping off point in order to get into their music. On this episode, we will be breaking down one of Austin, Texas's most poignant artists, Daniel Johnston. If you've never heard of Johnston before, his music is primarily the reason that the bedroom pop genre even exists, as he was a trailblazer in these simple DIY songs with deeply heartfelt lyrics and full of themes of nonconformity, depression, and isolation. His music may not sound the best and the music might not make the most sense, but he still was a brilliant artist. And as always, I'll be going over 2 albums and 3 individual tracks that I think you should be listening to if you want to get into the wonderful discography of Mr. Daniel Johnston. First, some albums. The first record you should be listening to if you want to get into Daniel Johnston is Hi, How Are You?, his 5th release of 1983. Yes, you heard that right, 5th release in 1 year. This is arguably his most recognizable album, as Kurt Cobain would frequently be seen wearing a t-shirt with the album cover on it. The music on this is incredibly heartbreaking, as it truly does show an artist who battled mental illness and used music as his outlet. And the first song to listen to from this project is Walking the Cow. The song talks about, well, walking a cow, or as Johnston explains it, going about your daily routine carrying a cross or burden with you at all times. Walking the Cow is a wonderful example of Johnston's crushing lyrics that still leave you with this glimmer of hope. Next, Despair Came Knocking is another great track full of lyrical beauty, as Johnston talks about a woman who comes into his home and simply says nothing. He accurately contextualizes his depression and fear using this woman as a metaphor, as he says that he is felt with a rush of dread as soon as the woman comes in and feels even more dread when she says nothing. This only intensifies his insecurities. And finally, you need to listen to Desperate Man Blues. Using Desperate Damn by Johnny Dankworth as the background instrumental, Johnston is incredibly open about his depression. And the saddest of all the lines, in my opinion, is, "And I just can't see no color in the sky anymore." Hi, How Are You is not the best album in terms of recording sound or instrumentals, but the real merit of this album comes in the sheer intensity and honesty in Johnston's lyrics. The next album to listen to from Daniel Johnston is yet another one of his 1983 releases, Yip Jump Music. This album sounds much more upbeat in comparison to Hi, How Are You, but don't mistake this as a happy album. On the first track, Chord Organ Blues, Johnston quickly dives into the mistakes that he's made in his life. He uses a chord organ throughout most of his records, which is an organ that plays full chords instead of actual individual notes. And on this song in particular, he does talk about how these mistakes he has made has carried out with him throughout his everyday life. Next, you need to listen to Casper the Friendly Ghost. The famous character of Casper is one that Johnston would constantly relate to, as he definitely felt a real connection with the flaws of this character, and this song is more or less a dedication to this bond. Finally, you need to listen to Worried Shoes. In my opinion, this song is the crux of this album, as it sees Johnston wearing his worried shoes, or physical reminders about the constant mistakes that he's made in his life that he really just can't forget about. Knowing how much Johnston was affected by his mental illnesses, this song is rather tough to listen to because you really feel his pain in knowing that he truly felt afflicted by every single fault that he made. Yip Jump Music is an absolutely fantastic record when you can accept it at face value. Now let's get into some tracks. The first track to listen to is The Story of an Artist from his 1982 release, Don't Be Scared. I'll be honest, this song breaks my heart every single time that I hear it. Between the beautiful melody and the heart-wrenching lyrics, this song is the pinnacle of Johnston's discography. He tells the story of an artist, a man who is beaten down by his peers and his family members for striving to be perfect in his art. And if it wasn't apparent already, Johnston is really talking about himself. It just hits home every time that I hear it because you can really feel his pain deep inside the lyrics, and it really just eats you up on the inside, especially if you have ever wanted to be an artist before, because we've all been in this place before. It just really is an incredible track, and you need to listen to this. Next, True Love Will Find You in the End, off of his 1990 album, 1990, is yet another must listen. Once again, a very simple song with just a guitar spanning over 2 minutes. This song is incredibly honest. Johnston explains the importance of being vulnerable when you're trying to search for your true love. He is brutally honest on this song, more so than many of his others, making such a short and simple song feel like a weapon of blunt force to force the listener person to really examine their true intentions. The last song to listen to is Honey, I Sure Miss You off of 1991's Artistic Vice. This is easily one of Johnston's most polished songs in terms of mixing and production. It also feels like one of his most complete songs. The track itself is not out of the ordinary, giving off a much more indie rock vibe in comparison to his typical singer-songwriter sound, but this track is definitely accessible to new listeners. Johnston reflects on lost love and the never-ending void around him, as he now recognizes that the person he loves is simply not going to be there for him. It just really is a great love song all around. So, that is all that I have this week on Daniel Johnston. If you ended up going through his discography and listening to some of the tracks or albums that I suggested, leave a comment below and let me know. Or if you are a Daniel Johnston fan and I missed one of your favorite albums or tracks, also hit me in the comments below. Feel free to subscribe for more videos just like this, as well as video history essays on classic albums. Also, feel free to let me know of what artists you would like to see next. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next week, and until then, happy listening.